every place calls me, at church, every place calls me Grandma Reba. And so anyway, I'm Reba Gebbers, and I'm 87 years old. My folks came out to Washington, and my dad got a job at Jim Wade Orchards in Okanagan, and so we stayed with Grandma and Grandpa for 4 months. We came out to Washington with Grandma and Grandpa on the train. My dad heard that Martha Gamble needed a welder in her shop, and in Arkansas he was a welder at a sawmill. And so he came down and applied for the job, and she hired him. We moved down to Brewster that day. John Gebbers was down there, Martha's husband, and he had all these beds, and my mother came out and she looked at him and she said, "Well, I wouldn't put my kids on those old beds." And so he came out to the office and told Martha, and they went up to Webster Furniture and bought all brand new beds for our house. Martha was very good to us. The way I met Danny, my brother Joe came running into the house one day. My mother was sewing in the front room, and he got behind her knees at the sewing machine. It was a pedal sewing machine. And pretty soon this knock came at the door. And I went to the door, and this teenage kid was at the door, and he said, "Is your old lady here?" And I said, "Who, my mom?" And I took him into the front room where Mama was sewing, and Joe had hid behind her knees. And he came in and he said, "That kid of yours," talking about my brother Joe, "dang near killed me. He hit me in the head with a rock." My brother got out from the sewing machine, Joe, and looked up and he said, "Yeah, and you and old Ed Perso tried to drown me in the Columbia River." And so that's how that all happened. We got married in 1950, and this is the first place we married. We lived here for 10 years. We had 6 children, and those 6 had 20 grandchildren, and those 20 grandchildren have had 42 great-grandchildren.
I'm Reba. Everybody calls me Baby Reba, being named after my grandma.
And I'm Daniel, and my dad, Reba's mom, brother and sister, and we both sell apples for our company called Chelan Fresh.
I grew up in these orchards, so it's a blessing and a privilege to be able to sell what I know, and our fruit is like my baby, and I want it to be everywhere, and I want everybody to have an opportunity to have it. It's a great joy to be able to grow something, sell it, and see a consumer enjoy it.
But I think we both dreamed of growing up and working in the orchard, you know. My older brother runs our warehouse, 2 younger brothers work in the orchards. Reba's older sister works in our office, the main Gebbers Farms office. She has twin brothers that are my age. One of them is our head mechanic. He went to diesel mechanic school, grew up loving tractors. He got a tractor when he was 14. I still haven't given Grandpa Danny, still haven't forgiven him for getting Jason a tractor when he was 14. But it's awesome because that's what Jason loved. And then her other brother, Brian, he now is running our food safety programs. You got to learn to love what you do. And you learn to love what you do when you're making a positive impact. And I think both of us feel like we're making a positive impact in the role that we're in. As a result, you learn to love to do that, and you put everything you have into it.
Our grandpa started this whole thing. He had an amazing imagination. He was an only child, and he wanted a big family, and he certainly got one. And to watch all of us grow up and put our specific talent or contribution in, it's been a neat thing to see, and it's really neat to see the next generation doing the same thing. And when I'm having a tough day at work, I think that I'm not working for myself or for my generation, but for the next one and the one after that. And I want them to have somewhere to come back to, and something to work towards like I have. And this is beyond me and what we're doing right now. It's geared towards the future and the generations to come.
I think that's my favorite part of working in the orchard or in the cattle, is just being able to see my dad and my cousins and uncles and aunts, and just, you know that you're going to see your family every single day, and if something goes wrong, there's going to be someone else who saw the real side, and they're going to back you up.
At the end of the day, we all have a couple needs. We got to stay in business. How do you stay in business? You have to make money. How do you make money? By collecting more than you spend. And when you're at the store, how do you make money? You make money by selling good product that people come back to buy. And that's what we can provide to the stores. You got to have something that when you bite into it the first time, you say, wow, I've never had something like that. So I was driving to work one fall, and I pulled into the test orchard, and I picked the sugar bee off, you know, and it was cool in the morning, and and I took a bite of it, and it felt like that apple actually jumped out of its skin. And I just said, my God, we gotta plant these. You eat an apple and you say, that's the best apple I've ever eaten. Then you get to sell it and you get to see that success in the stores, and then it pays for the shelf space. That gives the retailers high sales dollars, gives them good profitable margin, and it returns enough back to us as a grower to be kept in business. There's nothing more exciting than doing that. And that's kind of what we found on Sugar Bee. So Rocket, it's its own unique deal. It's a wonderful tasting apple. Really hardy, always holds up, and they're always small. They're perfect kid-sized apples. You think about some of these school lunch programs, they all get small apples. I don't think the kids are eating them because they're getting the apples that were not good enough, big enough, etc. to go into the store. You know, we're trying to figure out ways to get Rockets into schools to where kids have a memorable and a pleasurable eating experience. So one thing with the Rockets that we're really excited about for this year that we've never had is a back to school opportunity on Rockets. This year with the abundant crop that we had, we're gonna actually have perfect condition CA storage Rocket apples to start up back to school season in August and get us into mid-September when we start new crop Rocket apples. So we're really excited about the year-round supply that we have. So knowing now that we're in position, it can become an everyday product in the stores.
I'm Hawkins Gebbers. I came into the company 8 years ago. I do land development, I do road maintenance, I do post-harvest storage protocols, and I help manage people in the orchard for harvest. We all just kind of fall into our roles and kind of do what we're asked and kind of what we find that needs done, and pretty soon that kind of is what you do. I mean, when I arrived, my grandfather was doing the land work, all of the development, road maintenance. And so I worked with him a little bit, and I worked on our shipping dock, and I ran our cherry lines, and I helped in harvest. And it just kind of, when he passed away, it kind of fell into place that was a need, so that's what I did. It's pretty special that we've all decided to come back on our own. I mean, no one told us we had to come here and work. I love being around family. I love being around my 3 brothers and their wives and kids. But to have, 20 some odd cousins, it's just some family ideals from my grandmother and my grandfather down through their parents, obviously my dad. And it's just been a big deal for us. Plus, I mean, look where we live. It's nice out here. We have sand, we've got deep, dark dirt. We've got elevations from 2,000 feet down to the river level right here in a contiguous space, so we can grow cherries to all different portions of the marketing season. And the other thing is, I mean, look at the river. So with the river and the soil and the different aspects in this valley, we can grow anything. Pretty fortunate, very blessed to be here. I love this place. Honestly, we work so hard out here to bring the customers like literally the best piece of fruit that we can. And apples like this are allowing us to do that because the genetics are so good. Honeycrisp, Sugar Bee, Rocket, I mean, these are like the best apples you can grow and store. You see how it fractures? It's got an amazing fracture. I'm gonna eat it now, okay? It's unbelievable.